there's sometimes I go, I'm not going to do that because that's the reception.
Fight the north. Fight the north.
I was like walking through the elevator, 6 people staring at me, and then I just stand there and go, hey, that's a conversation.
Okay, y'all ready? Okay, so I am Julie Carman, and I am a success advisor downstairs. And last year we were asked to do a student experience panel, and it turned out to be super insightful, not only for our office, but for different offices on campus. And then they did such a great job. IMC came and talked to them. And did some individual interviews and then used them for some marketing for UCM, so that was super fun. So we will have the students introduce themselves, and then we have some questions that we can start with. And then if you have any questions that you want to ask for the growth of your area, they're all yours. How do we feel about that? Feel good? Okay.
I'm Nadia Watkins. I am a senior SLP major, speech language pathology major, with a minor in psychology. I plan to graduate in May, and then I will return in the fall for graduate school here. So.
Hi, my name is Keegan Bluette. I'm a senior biology major with a minor in chemistry. I plan to be an anesthesiologist assistant, but don't ask me about grad school yet because I don't know.
Hello, I'm Trevor Hanlin. I'm a freshman, and I'm a marketing major, and I plan to go into healthcare marketing.
Hi, I'm Elle Snider, and I'm a junior. I'm an English major, and sorry, and also don't ask me about grad school, but I do graduate next May. I plan to go into like publishing, PR, and marketing and such. So.
Hi, I'm Trista Tipton. I'm a senior this year. I'm a speech language pathology major, and I plan to attend graduate school at UCM in the fall.
Hi, I'm Henke. I'm a junior and I'm an events marketing and management major. And don't know what I want to do yet, but something with events.
Hi everyone, my name is Molina. I'm a sophomore this year and I'm majoring in secondary education with an emphasis in family and consumer science. And I plan to teach any school that wants me.
Okay. So anybody want to ask a question first? You just want me to start us? Does it matter? We're going to be easy. Okay, here we go. So this was just one that we put out there. So what are areas that you think UCM should focus on to help support students more intentionally?
I think that UCM can put a little more emphasis on the learning commons. I know I was a transfer here, so I didn't get like orientation or anything, so I didn't find out about the learning commons until a little bit later in my career. And I just like learned a lot by being in Reset and kind of getting like a lot of the like exploring all the campus resources that we have, and I think that's really great for them, but I think that we can incorporate that a little bit more maybe in orientation and just getting like the freshman students more familiar. I think the earlier we get the knowledge out there, the more likely they are to use it.
Another office that I think would be cool to put out there a lot more with, you know, the new freshmen transfers and such, is the WISE office. I didn't even know that it existed until I was like a late sophomore. I feel like we've started working with them really closely in the Success office, and it's just been really nice to like learn what they do. I think, you know, things like resume builders and figuring out what path you want to go down with your major is really important, and I think a lot of people come into college not really knowing that 100%, but I think that WISE does a really good job with supporting those students and just seeing what opportunities students can have through their office. So.
Anything else? Good? Okay. What do you think have been the most important experiences you've had as a student, whether it's academic or involvement, that have positively impacted your success as a student?
Okay, for me, I would say kickoff was very impactful, especially because like you're with all the freshmen, so everyone's kind of terrified away from home. And there's like it's jam-packed schedule, which is kind of awesome because there's always something to do and people to talk to. And also an option program. Coming into college, I had no idea what I wanted to do, and so that was like very impactful for me, and I loved every second of it.
I'd say I just went on my first Global Visions trip this past spring break. That was pretty eye-opening for me because I'm a person who's pretty much had a plan for what they want to do since I started. I'm very plan-oriented and step-by-step, but it really put in perspective that there is so much bigger things outside of what we can do here, and just the difference. I went to Puerto Rico, so just the difference just there, even though it is a place in the United States still, that really put in perspective on my education, the level of education that we get here, and the amount of support that we do actually have as just a community in general at the university, but also how many more opportunities that professionally we can have that are much bigger than ourselves, and I would have never known that unless I would have gone to Global Vision. So that experience has been amazing, and I cannot promote it more.
So last semester I was in open options. So, you know, I came in not really knowing what I was gonna do or have any idea what I was wanting to do. And the career fair was very, very beneficial for me. You know, getting to talk to so many people with different backgrounds and different things that they're doing. It really opened my eyes and kind of gave me a firm foundation to start off with. So, yeah.
That was good. Okay, ready? Okay, this is a good one. What is something you wish faculty and staff better understood about students?
I think sometimes we get into the area that we are the students and they're the professors, and that we are like kind of still really young, and that we don't understand the importance of what we're doing here. And just because we might be not showing up every day in class or maybe missing an assignment here and there, we are still understanding the depths of what we're doing and how important this education is. We are still trying to become people, and that's also hard. And I think sometimes professors forget that we're trying to figure that out, and because they're already established and we know where we want to go with that, but just having that understanding.
Kind of like similarly to that, I think it would be nice if some professors could keep in mind that we're kind of learning this for the first time. I know like professors, they can get sort of frustrated because they've taught this for 20 years, 50 years, whatever it is. Hey, you would be shocked. But it's our first time being exposed to the information, so don't be too put off if we're just struggling to learn the information. It doesn't mean that we're not trying, and it doesn't mean that we don't care. So.
I would say that I just wish instructors would recognize that every single student is different, even in specific major classes. Everyone has different aspirations for their career, and everyone thinks certain assignments are more important than others. Everyone's putting in different amounts of effort, so just recognizing that there's a standardized way of teaching, but sometimes some students need more support than others, and sometimes even in Brightspace, how you can lock some assignments up and not open them up for weeks in advance, or the week that it's open. Sometimes students want to work ahead, or sometimes students need that extra support. So I just think recognizing that every student is really different. Even like Nadia and I are in the same classes, and we both learn so much differently than each other, even though we're in the same career field. So.
Anybody have anything they want to ask from the crowd yet? Yeah?
Where do you guys go to find university events? What platform do you guys use to find events or figure out what offices are doing it?
I know my freshman year I used Central Connect a lot. I was able to see what was going on, and I also like to take a walk around the union, because on some boards they have flyers to anything, and when I go to my general classes, my gen eds, or just my specific major classes, I like to take a look out the walls, see what's going on, because you're able to put flyers on the boards and see what's happening.
My freshman year, whenever I wanted to know about things going on, I had to ask people. I think word of mouth is the best way to advertise things like that. If I get a personal reference of oh hey, this is happening down at the union, you should go. That's definitely what draws me in the most, especially as a freshman, because nobody wants to show up to an event by themselves or go to something they don't know what it's about. So I think we do events in the advising center, we have Harding Center workshops, and we can post a flyer on social media or post it out in the union, but I found the most effective way to get students in is just by walking around the union and be hey, we're doing this, you should come in, this is what it is. I think some people just want to know exactly what is going to be happening at the events, because nobody, let's be real, no one really wants to step out of their comfort zone like that, especially as a freshman. I mean, I did it anyway.
I was just gonna say social media. I think whenever I was doing kickoff and all first year experience and stuff like that, I was really trying to not get to the end of the presentation. I loved all of the presentations, but I was excited to get to the end of the presentation because they would always have all of their social medias, and I would immediately follow them on Instagram or see what they had, if they posted something on Facebook or whatever it is. I just think it's the easiest, because then I can also screenshot it and send it to my friends and be do you guys want to go with me? Or yeah, Or if I, like, now that I work in the success office, being able to just like have it pulled up or be able to like print it out myself and then like give it to a student that may seem like they want to be interested or they're, you know, seem like they need to get more involved, like just, yeah, just having it available.
All right, I know this isn't super common, but I read the UCM newsletter that gets sent out to our email. Yes!
Go Keegan!
No one is shocked.
Right.
We like it.
That is effective. Please keep sending them.
So you mentioned social media. So I personally have had to take my phone into the Harding Center to get help with Facebook and was told they don't use Facebook. And so, what, right? Oh, you did say that. So you said it's for moms. So when we talk about social media, what platform do you think is the most effective to get information out to students?
Instagram.
And most of them are just kind of fun videos and things. Are you seeing more marketing for universities and things on TikTok? Do you like that? Is it annoying? Like, what are your thoughts on TikTok marketing? Like, receiving it?
I think that TikTok marketing is one of the best strategies, at least for me, or right now. Because, you know, if you look at the numbers, you know, obviously Instagram's going to be up there and it's pretty consistent for a while. But TikTok's that one that keeps jumping. You know, people are always on their phones, and people are religiously on TikTok. So, I mean, it's just one of those things where you post it where people are watching, and the more people you get to watch, the more people you get to come in. So.
Is there a link that you watched before? I mean, if it's informational or funny, like what kind of format?
I think the like average attention span of somebody, especially now, with like you gotta be quick. Like I think it's like 3 seconds.
Yeah, there has to be some type of like tangible,
There needs to be something like immediately.
usually.
Like the video you made, like your narrative, do you remember that? The like video game that you were in.
Yeah,
Like that was super good.
Yeah, I mean, I think everything that really hooks somebody will always start with something like right off the bat. Because I mean, something like that, yeah. Exactly. So
something we struggle with in marketing is, you know, like you mentioned, you didn't know about whys and you didn't know about the learning commons. We struggle to find out how to get that information to students. So if you see something about a support service, an academic support service on TikTok, is that something you would actually watch or you would scroll past it?
So I can. I will.
Or is there a better way to get that info out?
I can tell, like, just from experience, Nadia, I'll give you this. Students don't know what they need until they need it. That is something that we know from our students, right? So we tell our students about the Learning Commons. We tell our students about WISE. We tell our students about our services at kickoff, at campus visits, at orientation, and they're thinking, I don't need that. And then whenever they need it, they're like, who are those people, right? You've said that openly. You're like, I didn't know the services until I needed them, and then I was like, I wish I would have paid attention sooner. I don't know that we can fix that, right?
I think also utilizing, like you said, like the trends, like they can be, it doesn't have to necessarily be funny, but even using like the audio clip that's like good. Like I know in our office, the social media team is trying to do like popular trends, but as it obviously relates to what we're doing, like for pop-ins for enrollment, stuff like that, we know people are still watching even though they're funny. They're still like getting those people in. But I think just like another aspect would just be like more collaboration. Like I know we talked a little bit like doing like a collaboration between like Wise and SAC and just doing like a funny video of us together or just like a TikTok together to like merge the office of us being in like the Wise coach position in their office and they're gonna be in ours, like they're like a coach or something. Just like making those connections so people can start pinpointing of like, oh, that's Keegan from Success Advising. What's she doing in the Wise office? Like stuff like that. To like I think once you have like a more personal thing about it, like that's what we try to do. Like I don't know, like we use Alex a lot. Like Alex, all these people like they'll be like, oh my gosh, Alex is in a TikTok, and they're like, yes, Alex is in that TikTok. Come in for enrollment. Like we try to find a piece that like grabs them like that for sure.
Yeah, and I also know that you mentioned earlier whether or not like you were being annoying. I would encourage you to be annoying. I think the more you put it in front of students' faces and the more that they hear about it, the more likely they are to remember it. I think that's good. Like I'm in Greek life and we say that a lot. Like the more that you just put out the word and the more that you're talking about it and you're talking to other people about it, the more likely they are to utilize those resources. So be as annoying as you can, truly.
So I think my question though is as an adult, not that you guys are not adults, let's let that be known, but if you're in the perspective of like a 25-year-old to a 30-year-old, or maybe your parents even, how would they feel about the information? Because we don't just have freshman students on our campus. What would be your perspective of that? Do you guys have any perspective? Did you guys all come? I know you were a transfer, but were all of you just traditional freshmen? Okay.
How'd you hear about UCM?
I mean, to be honest, you know, I really just came to UCM because one of my friends told me to come. But, you know, I see, you know, UCM is one of the, you know, bigger schools in Missouri at least. So it's like, you know, top 3 in Missouri. So I always knew it was there, but I never really like thought I was gonna come here. But you know, I'm glad I did. So I think just hearing it through the grapevine and, you know, seeing it on social media or stuff like that's really where you see UCM most of the time.
So I can say, Courtney, as a parent, right? So I have a student here in school, and we get emails all the time. So I know that you're talking about non-traditional students that you deal with, right? And so as a parent, so maybe closer to their age than these, I feel like the emails are very helpful because I check my email, right?
And like our students don't like a whole lot of the social media stuff. They
Right.
don't like a lot of the funny type stuff.
Yeah.
They want point blank, this is what I need to do, I want a checklist.
Your
How do I
population
get
is a
there?
little bit different,
So,
right?
but it's, I guess, you see them, how do we merge the two, you know, if we're gonna start having more transfer students. I think that's kind of where I'm getting at with that is, that's great that it's working for the freshmen, but how did the transfer students feel about all of what's currently being used?
Maggie, do you have any experience with that?
I'm trying to think about the transfer student survey that we sent out and if there's any feedback on where they got information from. I mean, what we got from transfer students in the most recent new transfer survey, continuing student survey, is that they want more information on what we're doing on campus. They want more information on these resources and want to know how to use them and how to access them. Because as I think Keegan really pointed to it earlier, she didn't have that orientation experience, and we know that's something that as a university you have to work on and improve on is that orientation experience for transfers. But I think we also have to think about if we're capturing and talking about the learning commons in a funny way in a crossover video, we also have to say the learning commons is here to help you with fill in the link here to make sure that we're
I think that's what, yes, thank you. I think that's what I was trying to say. It's like, that's great, it's funny and it's catchy, but also we have another student population who may not want that.
I'm very oriented in like when I started I sat with my advisor and we planned my grad plan we planned out every step by step so I could see it when I needed to do something I know that we're trying to do for like the Advantage program, which is like not a traditional student, like another subsection of students. It's like a guidebook that gives you all the links of you would think what you would need to know how to do. So like, okay, you're struggling with a class, where do I go? So here are your resources here, and embedded links. You can give them a pamphlet and say, okay, you can come see me 5 to 6, a lot of the time there's still going to be some digital aspect or a place that they need to go to actually see that information. You need to make it not like a, okay, I need to click here, and then I need to click here, and then I need to click here. You need to, okay, I got this one thing, I can click this one thing, and it'll take me right there. And I think blurring those things would help a lot too, just like a guidebook of sorts, like a little subsection of things.
Yeah.
I just had a follow-up for you, Keegan. You sent the newsletter. Are you referring to the UCM Weekly email? Okay.
Yes, I am.
Do the rest of you read that email?
What if I do?
No.
I read it a lot because I TA for, fall semester, I TA for University Foundations, and I had to take the students to like events and everything, so I read it a lot my fall semester. Now I read it once in a while, but I still try my best to read it.
Right. Yeah.
I have a quick question. So I think marketing kind of hit on this a little bit earlier, and Julie, I think, made a great point that students don't know they need something until they need it. For you guys, is there something that kind of motivates that need? Is it, oh no, I'm about to graduate and I need this? Is it, it's part of a class so I need it? Or like what motivates that need for you guys to utilize WISE in the Career Center, or to use the Learning Commons, or to go to advising? What are those driving forces that create that motivation?
For me, it's whenever I was starting to struggle a little bit, like just in classes, or like, oh, I feel like maybe I should be doing something, or like, and for me, what gets a hook, like maybe on social media or something like that, or just is word of mouth, is like personal narratives. So if I see on social media that a student is talking about, oh man, I really needed help with this, and so then I went here, and I did this, and this, and now, look at me now. Like, that's like, oh, okay, I'm in the same boat as them. I should go do that, and they just told me how to do it, so it should be easy now. Like, if it's easy step by step, it's a lot easier to just go take care of those resources and use it. Like, I don't know, I've seen like the personal narratives that the like military success center, they post those, and it's like, oh, that makes so much sense. I can just go in there and go do that. That's like, okay, that makes sense. Or like Nadia's been in videos where like, oh, I needed help, so I went and met with my success advisor, and she helped me do XYZ. It's like, oh, they made it look so easy. I could probably do that. Like,
I would also say like maybe making it a part of like a class assignment. So for like, I took my University Foundations class at a different institution, but part of the assignments there were like getting comfortable with the resources on campus. So it would be like, you know, go get your resume checked, and then like take a picture to prove you were there, and then you turn it in and get like 10 points in the class. Or go to like the tutoring center, take a picture so I know that you showed up and that you like went there for a little bit. So I don't think it has to be anything too serious, but I know for me, especially if I have that deadline, that'll motivate me to go.
I think one, in like the coaching world of things, we tend to see like I know students come in and like, oh, I just have all of this, and that's just like the end. They don't have like a next step or like a plan of resolution for that thing. So that's where that kind of comes in. It's like, okay, here are these things, but they're like, yeah, okay, but you have to present it in a way that shows them that these things are actually beneficial for you. And it's not like, because I tell them all the time, like, I'm going to be truthful with you. I'm not going to sit here and tell you, like, I told them the other day that I procrastinate, and they were like, you do? And it's like, yes! I can be successful if you learn the ways that you need to be successful. I can tell you to go into the WISE and to do XYZ, but if you don't need those certain things from there, it's not beneficial for you. You have to, like, explain and find, like, the real base root of what you actually, like, the problem is, or where it can stem from, and how you actually need help. Because I feel like sometimes I know students feel like they just got told a lot of resources, but nothing that actually solved what they needed to do or helped them take the next step to what they needed to do. Does that answer anything?
We also talk a lot about students know what they should do, right? So we say this a lot, always. but what are you willing to do, right? So they know y'all are on campus, but are they willing to step out there and put themselves out there and utilize a resource? So that's just a bridge we gotta get, right?
I will ask them, so how much are we willing to work on this? How much effort do we want to put in for this? And if they're like 110%, it's like, okay, really? Let's think about all the things that we have to actually do in our lives and be realistic. Because I know we all have like these big aspirations and big ideas, but we have to be realistic or we will get swept up in the crazy. And so I think trying to find those boundaries and stuff for those things too is important.
Okay. What's one piece of advice that you'd give an incoming student?
I think my biggest piece of advice that I don't think that I was told enough myself, like being a new student, was that it's okay to fail and it's okay to like fall down every now and again. I think that whenever you're coming into a new environment that's so foreign and something that you haven't been a part of before, especially like me, like I'm a first generation student, like nobody in my family has ever been to college, and so I felt very disconnected from everything college because I just didn't really understand what I needed to do here besides get a degree. And so I think that I had to just keep reminding myself that if I fail a couple times, it's okay, it's not the end of the road. You know, there's opportunities and there's people that are here to help you and help guide you. So yeah, that's what I would tell somebody for sure. That's what I tell a lot of my students that come in, because a lot of them are freshmen, and especially like with TA and reset, you know, those students who have failed and are needing to come back from that, I think that they just need that okay, that you can move on from this and you can move forward and take it as a lesson and just keep going.
Advice that I would give myself or another you know, incoming freshman is just to talk to people. Like this last semester, coming in, like I had my roommate and I were friends all throughout high school, so I always had him. But I mean, other than that, I was really shut down. Like my whole everything was just me and him, and that was about it. You know, I talk to people in class sometimes, but after that, I'm more of a walk by and not say anything type of guy. So really just, and I think now this semester, I think I've definitely stepped out of my comfort zone a little bit, and you know, talking to a bunch of people on campus, you know, getting involved with some things that I never thought I would. And I think I'm just in a better spot all around, and I would say even it just makes school easier if you talk to people around you, because I mean, if you know, if you're struggling or anything, the one thing that you need to do is just ask people. Like always just ask, and that's pretty much it.
Sorry, Anna, do you want to go? Go ahead. Okay. I was gonna say boundaries. Boundaries are important, not only like for like if you're asked to do a lot of things, set those things up like when you know, don't overload yourself, but boundaries within your person. Like I talk about those a lot. Like people think I'm silly when I tell them that if I have stuff to do, like I said, I'm a procrastinator. If I have stuff to do, if I don't get them done, I'm not allowed to go hang out with my friends. I basically ground myself. And they literally think I'm silly, but genuinely that's what you have to do sometimes, because college is such a crazy experience that you just go from having strict rules or just set like rules from your parents and then you have none. And you just have this wave of freedom and you don't know what to do with yourself or how to like go back to a controlled environment, and kind of setting up those boundaries seem to like really help me. And it seems silly, but I always tell them that you don't have to explain it to anybody else. You can do that, and it can be silly, like, can't go to Chick-fil-A today, sorry guys, I didn't do my assignment. And they'll be like, well, that's silly, but I could go to Chick-fil-A. But if you set that boundary, you know next time I need to get my assignment done. It's just like you hold yourself accountable in a different way than you had to before. And it's not your mom telling you can't go.
I would say it's okay not to know. I do not like making decisions at all, which is why it's open option, believe it or not. And so like there's just so many people like advisors, professors there's so many different people to talk to, and so I feel like a lot of times, like, oh, if a student wants to change their major or is struggling to make a decision in something, there's just like so many resources and so many different people that you can talk to and who like genuinely want to see you like succeed. And so I would definitely just encourage them to like take that terrifying step to like talk to your professor, even though it's a little scary at first. But like everyone is here to like help you, and it's okay to not know the answer to like everything, but also you have to be like willing to take that step to like learn. Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna say similarly to that, that I don't know can't be the end, it needs to be the beginning. I actually say this all the time to my younger sister. Like, if you don't know the answer to something, like that's fine, we're not expecting you to know, but you need to be willing to seek it out for yourself. College is definitely the first time, I think, for most students to have, like, you know, they're on their own, nobody's really telling them what to do, nobody's really checking in with them all the time, it's kind of on them. So, I, like, whenever I meet with my students and I ask them a question and they say, I don't know, I'm like, all right, what's the follow-up? Like, how are we gonna know? Like, what are we gonna do next? Are you asking for help? Are we figuring it out by ourselves? Like, kind of like what's going on. So, yeah, I don't know, can't be the end.
Okay. How have you built connections with staff or faculty in your degree programs?
The number one thing that I did that made me the most closest relationship with my instructors is joining the club for my major. That was the most influential part of my career, not only for my instructors, but also getting close with my classmates and people in my major. I feel like networking is huge in any major, so that's how I made the most, like the best relationships with them was in a more relaxed setting than like, everyone says go to their office hours and all that stuff, and that's like really scary. No one wants to do that. So I like just being able to have a natural conversation with them at like our events that we had as a major together, and then this past year I was able to serve on the executive board for the club for my major, and so I got really close with the advisors who I'd had them in class before, but I got to see them in a different side of like, not as an authority position, but like I was working alongside them as a team, like trying to be I learned more than just like the content of my professors, but more about like how to be a leader and how to like get where you need to be for like our career. And I could ask them more personal questions whenever I've already like established that relationship with them. And then just showing up into those club events made it a lot easier whenever it came time for like grad school to ask them for recommendations or like ask them what do they think I should do, because it's a really, so that was probably the best thing I ever did.
I would say like, I'm a talker, so I like going to their office hours and just kind of sitting in and talking about more casual stuff. So if you have like a question or anything, I would say like always get to class early. Then usually the professor is setting up and they have like some time to talk. So I'll go over any questions I have, but also maybe just ask about them, see how they're doing, kind of get to know them on a personal level. I know I usually perform best in classes where I feel like the professor cares about me. So I always try to start that relationship, and then kind of like Trista said, it makes it a little bit easier if you like need some real advice, or if you're wanting a letter of recommendation, or you need some just help in general. So yeah, kind of start that relationship by asking about them.
This is going to sound really goody two shoes of me, and I know it. But every semester, that first day of class, I always go up to the professor like right after the class ended, like before I go to my next class, and I just like go up to them and introduce myself, and I'm just like, hi, my name's Elle, and you know, now that I'm an upperclassman, I'm in basically all of my major specific classes, so I'll just be like, you know, I'm an English major, and I'm interested in this, that, and the third, and you know, I'm excited to be in your course, like, thank you for taking the time, you know, and all that stuff. I just think it automatically builds the rapport, and just even like little things that you don't think matter and that you don't think that your professor is going to notice, like asking them questions whenever you're having trouble with an assignment, or if you get a grade that you don't really agree with, reaching out to them, going to their office hours, having that conversation, sitting at the front of the classroom, just, you know, little things like that, being attentive, being respectful. You know, your professors are people, so I think that it's important to know that they are seeing you, and even in the larger class, they care about everybody. So,
as Trista was saying, we have like a major group, like a group that we have, and I am involved in that, but I'm not as nearly as involved as Trista, and I don't really have like as the same level as rapport as I do, but I feel like I have that connection because of how I hold myself in the classroom and how I've been shown outside of the classroom and like within projects or with like how we even communicate with each other in class. I feel like, yes, we can have our moments where I'll come to class in my sweatpants and sit there and not to say anything, but then when it's time to actually show up and like say something, you have to remember that you're there to like, this is showing of how you are as a person, even if it is just in a classroom setting. So I feel like a lot of the time I'll show up to events and I'll bring things that like I know people might need, or I'm doing things that I don't need recognition for, but I know that people will see that these things are done and that it'll show that I am the type of person that will do those things and that I can be that person if they need me to be. So I don't necessarily have the one-on-one, but I know that my character has been shown enough that that I'm a person that can be a resource for them and vice versa. And I feel like that has gained me some insight. Like I was asked to join this research class and I was like, so they know who I am. So you do know me. Wonderful. So even though I wasn't, because I'm a talker, but I'm not, like talking to my professors is a little scarier for me. So just doing it that way and just really thinking about how you hold your person as a character and as just an individual just really shows and can build that rapport.
Okay. What has been the most confusing or challenging thing to figure out at UCM? Yeah.
I would say Ward Edwards building. Which I know no one here probably can fix that, but I know most of you can relate to that. So
That's real.
that's what I would say.
If that's your biggest like confusing thing, like I feel like we're killing it.
Like all my classes were in that building this semester, so
That's fair.
it was a little confusing, but
It is confusing.
anybody else?
Something someone said earlier kind of stuck with me is like, Trista, that each student is so different. I found myself constantly comparing myself to even like Trista, what she's doing, she's so involved, like it's so nice, like she just does great things, and it's like, I want to be like Trista, but it's like, I'm doing all these things too, and I think the struggle for me personally was remembering that I am an individual, and even though I'm not doing X, Y, Z, I'm still here and I'm still showing up for these other ways. So I think just finding those motivation in like that area of life has been a real struggle, and I really just have recently. I tell people now that like my brain is myelinating. Like I'm almost 23, so I'm like I'm getting there. Like something is happening in my brain, and I can feel the changes start to happening. And I think it's just like the level of maturity of like working through that. But that was a big struggle for me for a long time. I know, but neither do I.
I would say, at least on the biology aspect of it, was getting ready for grad school. I feel like a lot of my grad school like prerequisites and stuff are stuff that I need to do outside of UCM. So I don't necessarily feel as though like just going through the classes and doing everything provided by UCM would be enough to get me towards my goal. So a lot of the things that I need are like patient care hours, I need shadowing hours, I need to be volunteering, I need to be getting good grades, I need to be taking grad school entrance exams, like all outside of UCM. So, and it was hard because my sister, she was in the nursing program, and I feel like they do a lot to get their students ready for like a career, boots on the ground right after graduation. So I think that's been a confusing part, is figuring out how I can balance my UCM and my classes and all of my involvement there while also getting myself ready to take the next steps outside of just graduating.
most challenging part for me was I am somebody who really values my social life and friends and doing fun things. And so the hardest thing for me was trying to find that balance of like, I want to be a very successful student and be able to reach all my goals academically, but also like I want to have fun and I want to do all the fun things that college is about and all that stuff. So finding like my organizational skills and like finding what's really important to me and where I need to focus the most, even if it's just week by week. That was the most challenging part, especially my freshman year. After my freshman year, I had to realize like, oh, like it's time to focus on what you actually want to do, and you have to kind of give and take what's important to you. So that was hard for me, but I think like people think that you can't be both, like you can't have a lot of fun in college and also be a really good student, but that's not the case. Like you just have to have very good time management, organizational skills, and do what matters most to you.
Okay, we have a few minutes left. Anybody have anything they want to ask? Then we can leave on a positive. Okay. What is something a faculty or staff member has done for you that has helped you or made you feel like you belong here and you're going to be successful?
They knew my name.
Aww.
That's literally it.
Mine is seeing, like, when I'm struggling, when I'm trying to mask when I'm struggling. Especially in this office, like, we are very close, and I have very, very wonderful supervisors that I work so closely with, and they can just see when something is up. Like, I'm trying to just be like, I'm there, I'm here, and they're like, okay, so tell me what's up. Or just like, I know like Nadia like brought me like a brownie one time, and she's like, I can just tell that like it's like something's happening, and I'm like, ah, yes it is. And so just like seeing that, and just like you can really just feel it, like you are a person to them and not just like a employee or just like a student. You are genuinely a person to them. So that's really nice.
Got anything? Yep.
I know there's someone in our office who helps me and has been helping me since I was a freshman. And I think that I would not have gotten through college if it was not for like the meetings that we had and the talks that we had. And I think it's just being able to, as someone who is older than me, and you know, we're in two completely different stages of life, like just being able to come down to my level almost in a way, and be able to relate and kind of give his own advice without you know, making me feel guilty for how I'm feeling or making me feel like I'm being too emotional or what have you. I know that my early years here I had a lot of imposter syndrome and I felt very like out of place, and that's just first gen realities, but with all of that, like I think that I came back from it and I'm still thriving because of it. So yeah.
Okay. Good job, y'all.